All right, this is Math 7, 8.5, page 318 to 319, number 1 to 6 and 11, answer key. All right, number 1 has this graph, and it says, what is the scale of each axis? Well, looking at it, the scale is from one line to another. How much does it go up? Oh, it didn't write anything here, but what you know is this origin is 0, and if we go here is 10, there's 2 squares, right? 2 squares is 10, so 10 divided by 2 is 5. That's what this would be. So one jump here is 5. So the scale is 5 is 1 mark there. The scale is 5 units. We don't really know what the units are, but you could have just said the scale is 5. If they said these were centimeter squares or something like that, then you'd say centimeters, not units. If it's meters, it would be meters. And then it says write the coordinates of each point from A to K, all right? So A, looking here, the first coordinate is the right, left, right? And it goes right to 10, and then up to 15, right? Halfway between 10 and 20 is 15. So the right was 10 and 15. B, does it go right or left at all? No, it's right here. It's still in the same spot. It's 0. It did not move right or left, and then it moved up 20, 25. 0, 25. C is down here. Right 5, down 10. Right 5 is positive 5, down 10. What do we need? A negative sign. Why? Because it's negative 10, right? D is over here. It went left 30, so negative 30. Left is negative, and it didn't go up or down, so it's still 0. E. Find E. It's down here. We did not go left or right at all, so it's 0, and down to negative 25. Let's do F. F is right in the middle at the origin. An origin is 0, 0. G. It's right here. We went left 5, which is negative 5, and down 5, which is negative 5. So it's negative 5, negative 5. H. H is over here. We went left negative 25, right? Halfway between 20 and 30 is 25. So halfway between negative 20 and negative 30 would be negative 25, and then up 15. So negative 25, 15. There's no I. They skipped I. Maybe because it looks like a 1. I'm not sure. J goes right to 20 and doesn't move up or down, so it's 0. J and K finally is way down here. We went left to negative 25 and then down to negative 30. So negative 25, negative 30. So looking here, we had 10 points with 2 values each. So that's going to be 20 marks each, and this was 1 mark. So question 1 is out of 21 marks. It's lots of marks for this. I'll scale it down though for the rest. Question 2. So it says to use the same grid or these points here that we came up with, and we need to figure out which points have x coordinate 0, or x is 0. Well, let's look through. X is our first coordinate, so which have it as 0? Well, B, E, and F. Or you could check here, which ones are on the x equals 0 line? B, E, and F. Let's put it in alphabetical order. It's B, E, and F. So that'll be 3 marks right there. Let's do B right here. B says y coordinate 0. So y equals 0. Well, let's look on the y line here. We have D, F, and J. D, F, and J. That's in alphabetical order. Or we could have looked at our y coordinates and looked. We have D, we have F, and we have J that are 0. Okay, what does C say here? C says the same x coordinate. Okay, which ones have the same x coordinates? Well, the ones that have x equals 0, we already know are B, E, and F. They have the same x coordinate. but are there others that have the same x? So look at our x values. Are there any that have the same, column, right? Well, h and k as well. X equals -25 was h and k. So you just needed to say those and have them separate. So these are the answers I'm looking for this. Just mention that's out of 3. That's out of 3. This is out of 5. Let's do D. D says same y coordinates. So same y coordinates. Okay. Well, we know that y equals 0. We had 3 from this question. D, F, and J. They're all on that same line. Are there any others that are on the same? No, no, no. Oh, A and H. Y equals 15 was A and H. So that's out of 5. Next was equal x and y coordinates. So looking at our values, which ones have the same x and y? Well, F has 0, 0. G has -5, -5. And that looks like it. So F and G would be our answers. So that's out of 2. And finally, F says y coordinate 2. So y equals 2. Well, all of these numbers were multiples of 5, and 2 is not a multiple of 5, so none are that way. So out of 1, the answer is none. So if you add it up, question 2 is all out of 19. Let's do number 3. So question 3 says to draw a coordinate grid and, put some points on it, but we need to come up with what our scale is. How do we choose a scale? Well, if you look at all the numbers, they are multiples of what? They're all multiples of 5, so 5 would be a good scale to use. So we don't have to use a whole piece of paper for a single question. And what's the biggest value of any of them? 40, right? So 5 times 8 is 40. So we're going to go up 8 squares and then, 8 times 2. So we have our positives and our negatives. We're going to do 8. That's 4, 6, 8. And then 2, 4, 6, 8. Okay. And we're going to do that both ways. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Good. Did have it in the right spot. We're going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 each way. Okay. And that way we can have 0 here. And you know what? I'm going to just do this a little faster by just going 20 and 40. We can fill it in with our minds. We can do math quick. Okay, so how do you choose a scale? Well, all are multiples of 5, so 5 is a good scale. That's 1 mark, saying the reason why or how you decided on that, okay? So that's 1 mark. Now it says to draw a coordinate grid. We did that. Look at the order pairs below, label the axes, plot each point. Okay, so we're going to plot each of these points. It says A is 30, -30. So we need to go right 30 and then to -30 and label it A. B says 25 and 0. We need to go 25 and then 0. C says -10, 35. Go -10 and up to 35. Sorry, that was C. Getting ahead of myself again. D is -15, 40. -15 all the way up to 40. E is 15 and 5. 15 and 5. F is 0 and -20, so stay at 0 and go down to -20 is F. G is 0, 0, so just leave that there. Now, they said to use the letter O. there. H is negative 20, negative 5. So negative 20, negative 5 is H. And I is negative 40 and 0. So all the way to negative 40 and don't move up or down is I. And then there's a question, which point is the origin? Well, 0, 0, 0, O, 0, 0 is the origin. Or you could say G, question G was the origin. Okay, now for each of those points, all 9 points, each of those, for getting them right, you're going to get a mark each. So that's out of 9, and this was out of 1. So out of 11 for question 3. Now, question 4 says that we're going to need to graph these points. How would you do it? Now, looking at our graph, these points are not multiples of 5, some of these. So what do? Well, we use fractions, right? We kind of divide it up. You don't actually have to draw those lines if you can do it kind of in your head. But we try to put it on this way. So looking at this, k, x value is 3, y value is 5. We're going to move over 3. Well, we know that this is 5, right? And 3/5 is a little bit past half. So we're going to go a little bit past half, and it's going to be somewhere along here. And then it's going to be up to 5, and we know up to 5 is there. So if we look at this, if we split this up into equal sections, 5 equal sections, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Let me just zoom in on that. A little bit more even. If we broke this up into equal sections, we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 equal sections. Those are fifths, and we have 3/5, right? So it's on the third one. So that's why we put that dot there. Now you don't actually have to draw those little lines in. It should just be that approximate spot. And then it's right on the 5 line. Okay, what about P is negative 10 and 2. Okay, we're going to go to negative 10. It's going to be along this line. And it's going to be 2. Well, fifths, right? Split it up into 5s. It's going to be this point right here. Going to be a little less than halfway up that mark. And it is 2. Okay. Oh, I meant to erase that bottom dot. So it's going to be right there, and this is letter P. And then R, negative 7, negative 8. So in between negative 5 and negative 10, that's where this is going to line up, right? Negative 15, negative 20, so forth. It's going to be negative 7, which 7 is 2. Negative 7 is 2 less than negative 5. So it's going to be along this kind of line right here. And it's going to be negative 8. It's going to be down here. It's going to be a little bit more than halfway between negative 5 and negative 10. So it's going to be right there for R. So placing those in the right spots is a mark each. And so that's out of 3 for that question 4. All right. Question 5 says, which quadrant has all negative coordinates? Well, remember this. Quadrant 1 will always be positive and positive. Okay? Quadrant 2 will always be negative for x and positive for y. Why? Because it's up, right? Y up is positive, down is negative. Which means quadrant 3, this is always quadrant 3. This is negative, and quadrant 4 is always positive and negative, okay? So you need to remember that. And it says first, all negative is quadrant 3. This will be important for future lessons, especially our last lesson of the year. All positive, both coordinates positive will be quadrant 1. And then 1 positive, 1 negative are quadrants 2 and 4. Okay, so 1 mark, 2 mark, 3 mark, 4 mark. So out of 4. Number 6 says this, plot these points. There's a bunch of points on a graph. So looking at those, they're all less than 5. So we're going to use 5. We'll go up to 5. They're actually 4 or less. No, one has 5. Okay, so we'll go up to 5 each way. And then we're going to join them together, and we're going to describe this shape we've drawn. Okay, so let's get the grid. Okay, so here we have origins 1, and we'll go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We'll go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. -1, -2, -3, -4, -5. Use rulers. It makes things neat. I know it's tedious. I know I don't like using them, but then when I use them, I think, why don't I do this every time? All right. Point A is 0, 5. So stay here and move up 5. That's point A right there. Point B is -1, 4. -1, 4 is B. C is -1, 3. -1, 3. D is -2, 3. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. D. E is -3, 2. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2. F is -2, 1. 1, 2, and 1. G is -1, 1. -1, 1. Remember, always the first one is your X value, and the second one is your Y value. H is -1, 0. -1, 0 is H. J is 0, -1. So stay and then go down to -1. It's J. K is 1 and 0. So up to 1. Don't move up or down. Is K. L is 1, 1. 1, 1. M is 2, 1. So 2, 1. It's M. N is 3, 2. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2. P is 2, 3. 1, 2. 1, 2, 3. It's P. R is 1, 3. 1 and 3 is R. And S is 1, 4, which is right here. Now it says in part B, oh, sorry, before we do anything further, there was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16 points. So part A is out of 16. Part B says, join the points in order, then join S to A. So in order, we're going to join all these points, and it should look like this. So you just take your ruler and you go A to B, B to C, C to D, D to E, all the way around in alphabetical order. Yes, there's no O because O is the origin, and then S to A. So we join them together, and that would be 1 mark I'm going to give for part B, just joining them together. And then C says this, describe the shape you have drawn. It's a pointed plus sign. Positive sign. Maybe there's a bunch of lines of symmetry. You know, there's a line of symmetry here. 1, 2, 3, 4. There's a few different ways you could describe it. So I'm going to just say any description, you get a mark. So out of 18 for this total question for question 6. All right, and then we skip to 11. 11 says to plot these points, K, L, and M. On here, the biggest value is 20, so I'm going to go up by 5s. I drew this a little bigger than I needed to. Bigger is better than not big enough. Not big enough, you won't be able to fit all the points onto the graph. So if it's a little bigger, that's okay. And we have our origin right in the middle. So point K is -15, 20. So -15 and 20 is right there. We label that K. L says 5 and 20. L is 5 and 20, so go up 5 and go up to 20. That's L. and m is 5 and negative 10. So 5 and negative 10 is m. So plotted those three in the right spot, as well as, sorry, that's going to be 3. Okay. And then part B says, find the coordinates of point N that forms the rectangle KLMN. Well, if we were to connect these points, is there a point somewhere on here that could turn this into a rectangle? Well, we know that there has to be right angles here, right? Which means it has to be somewhere along this line here and somewhere along this line here. Yes, I know this is a longer, tedious way to point it out, but where do those lines cross? They cross right here, which would be point N, and N. Okay, so you're going to get a mark for putting the right spot, but you also need to find the coordinates. Okay, what are the coordinates? It's 1, 2, 3, which those are 5 each, so negative 5, negative 10, negative 15 is one coordinate, and the other one is down from there, negative 5, negative 10. So it's negative 15, negative 10. And I'm just going to draw these in just to do a little mini lesson here. Notice that each of these points on here will have a coordinate in common with one beside it that it connects to, right? So K and M, our negative 15s are the same. Their other values will be the same as the ones connected to them, okay? So they're negative 10, negative 10, 20, 20. And then the values that were in these other ones, they will be the same, 5 and 5. Okay, so it's actually the same numbers used over and over. There's pairs of them. Why? Because these are in the same line. They're both on x equals 5, so x is 5. That's just a little extra bonus lesson. So if we're putting n in the right spot, and each coordinate is a mark each, so that's out of 3. So this will be out of 6 for question 11. So let's add it up. 6 plus 18 is 24, plus 4 is 28, plus 3 is 31, 42, 61, and 82 it's going to be out of in total.